Here.
Mr. Duffy?
Present.
Mr. Martin? Mr. Lush?
Here.
Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Present.
Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Mrs. Dixon? Present. Madam President?
Give me a second. You're allowed. You're allowed.
Yes, you can take that.
Katie, tell her she's allowed, okay? She's gonna be one of your disciples.
Well, I would have been happy to share the letter with her on August 8th when we received it.
Executive sessions were held on Wednesday, July 10th, Monday, August 26th, and this evening to discuss litigation, employee discipline, negotiation, special education settlements, personnel, and staffing. I think I should announce the addition of B9, 10, 11 to the agenda. If anyone needs a copy, I'll be happy to give it. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Virginia. Solicitor, attorney.
There's one more under personnel. There's an addition under personnel. Sorry about that.
We do have an addition for appointment of person.
Okay.
Yes.
Attorney Yadi, solicitor's report.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Kiernan.
Good evening, everyone. I will be brief, but this is a report really to say thank you to a lot of people. So it's been a great start to the school year, I have to say. I really feel that positive vibe when I was out in all the buildings. The first thing I want to do is thank the board and Dr. Finan for putting a team together to help us get up and running. The team has been great. By team, I mean the administration team and all of the people at the administration building that don't get recognized. That includes the clerks, the maintenance, everybody that really stepped up during this time of transition. I want to thank the principals for all of their work in getting the buildings ready. All of our maintenance staff that worked tirelessly. Our buildings look great. I was in every building in the start of the school year. All of our staff members as we begin the year. Again, I can't say enough. The buildings look great, classrooms look great. I especially want to thank our Armstrong staff in the limited time that they had to get the building ready, all of Armstrong. They did a great job. They stepped up. I was over there for 3 straight days in a row, despite the building up until the last minute not being ready. You know, they were willing to do whatever it takes. So I want to thank all the teachers who, up until the last minute, were putting things together and putting their rooms together. So I want to give a shout out to them, along with all of them, but especially Armstrong staff. There are some people that I'd like to recognize who helped with the Armstrong project. Scranton Electric, and again, I apologize if I'm missing anybody, but these are the people that I was working with and Mr. Doherty was working with tirelessly who got us ready to go. Scranton Electric, Harold Newell, One Point, which is Mike Scoff and his team, Jeff Skirlo, which is damage control, and Rocco DePietro from our environmental professional. So again, there's just a limited amount of people. Mr. Laffey, I can't thank him enough. Mr. Doherty in our buildings, inside and out. Mr. Kelly, I can go on and on and on, but again, I want to say thank you to everybody that got us up and running, and I really felt like it was a good start to the year. So thank you all for all of you for putting the team together to help make it happen.
Thank you. Director Brunel.
Okay, I have a few things for PSBA. The first is, you've all received this information in your emails, but the Special Education Funding Commission will be revived. They have held their first session, I believe, just in the last week or so. There are Senator Pat Brown and Representative Kurt Sony, I'm not sure, and I need to clarify that. 2 Republicans serve on that committee, so I think it's wonderful to see 2 Republican stakeholders recognizing the issues we face in our funding. And they will be assessing the formula based on testimony of various stakeholders. One question I did have, because it is something that has come through in our newsletters, I've seen it on social media, it's come up in a conversation some time ago at the Career Technology Center, is the vaping situation. can we at some point learn a little bit about how we are addressing that situation? And there is a juuling, vaping, and e-cigarettes webinar on PSBA that I believe is geared toward board members. So I would certainly encourage everyone to take a look at that. It's an issue that seems to be becoming very, very serious and more and more so every day. So if we can be updated on how we're addressing that, that would be wonderful. And then I also believe Ms. Boland is going to talk later about something that came to our attention that was shared on the American Federation of Teachers Facebook page. I asked Virginia to print some information for you tonight, and it is a film narrated by Matt Damon about the struggles that public education is facing right now, and especially in light of charter schools. And I think Ms. Boland can probably give you a little bit more information, but we're hoping we can schedule a time to screen for them. So if you have any questions about it, when you have a chance to look over the information, send them my way. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the board welcomes public comment. The speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Union officials will be allowed 4 minutes, and your time may not be passed to the speaker. When your time is up, we kindly ask that you finish your sentence and wrap it up. In order to maintain respect for all points of view, the board requests no yelling from the audience, no bullying or other form of support or non-support to be used. The board will not tolerate derogatory remarks or personal attacks against any board member, administrator, or any person. This is the time for you to publicly air your comment. Debate and dialogue is discouraged at this time. Rosemary Boland.
Thank you, Mrs. President. I would like to address the board, as Director Del Martin just said, about a film that has come to our attention from the AFT. The AFT did not produce the film, but it's recommending viewing of the film. It's called Backpack Full of Money. And I've seen the trailer for it, and I think it would be worthwhile for all of us to join forces and present it to the citizens of Scranton, plus actually to ourselves, because I don't think anybody has a clue what this is all about when we're talking about charter schools. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars being pulled out of public schools. And it's a deliberate plan. This isn't an accident. It's not something that somebody just got up yesterday. This is a planned attack on public education. And the day of the hearings here in Scranton, Mr. Lappy indicated that in the budget this year, we're putting in, correct me, $6.2 million is going to leave Scranton School District to go to charters. It's a business and it's profitable. And if we need $7 million from this mercantile, we certainly could use the 6.2 that's going out the window to these charter schools. And in one of the parts of the video that I was watching, just the trailer, one of the people who run a private school, a charter, said, you know, if you spank the kids the right way, it's a good thing. Well, in the Scranton School District, and I would guess every school district around here, we don't do that. It's got corporal punishment is out. So when you send your child to a charter school, they set the rules. They don't follow any of the rules we follow. And so it's just up for grabs. You know there was one in the Poconos. You know what it did to the Poconos School District, and you know how long it took that school district to get rid of that charter right there. It was a disgrace. And so we've got to wake up. It's here, and we've got to address it. If the legislation had passed in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania regarding charter schools this past term, there would be no Philadelphia School District right now. The entire district would have been the charter. That's how perilous this is. And so I'm asking this board to join forces with us, and let's present this to the community as a community service. I think certainly we can use Scranton High School. The film does have a cost to it, but we're going to have that absorbed by AFT. And so I'm hopeful that we can get the public out to and say to everybody, let's bring the kids back to the Scranton School District where they belong. And I'm asking for your help and endorsement of the project. And I think we can do a terrific job in making this something that everybody in Scranton should be able to do. And actually around us, surrounding us. So I want to thank Director Gilmore because she's been emailing me back and forth. We're working on this thing, and we're trying to make this something that's a positive thing, not a political thing, a positive thing. I'd like to get that $6.2 million back, and then some, with your help. So if you're willing to come out, watch the video some night, I'm going to supply cake. I told Mark and Dr. Brennan I would do that, and I will. A couple of businesses in Southside, but anyway. So please let's figure this out together. I'd like to book the film sooner than later, because the sooner we get these kids back here, the better. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Wong. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 10th? That ends our public speaking. We have one speaker tonight. May I have a motion to approve?
There are several other parents here, I think, who wanted to publicly comment. Were we supposed to sign up somewhere to do so ahead of time?
Can they still sign up?
Yeah, I don't see any problem with them signing and having their comment.
Yeah, you're supposed to sign when you come in. There's a sign-in sheet.
Okay.
Pass that down.
That's the other.
That one?
I'll sit down.
Are there other parents here that would like to speak? Okay. We have Ms. Deborah Giorgetti.
Yeah. So, hi. My name is Deborah Giorgetti. I have 4 children who have actually had a long history of attending Scranton Public Schools, and ironically, I'm here tonight for the first board meeting ever in my life to talk about my child who is now at All Saints Academy. So about midway through the school year last year, I pulled my child out of South because of some deteriorating conditions, partly, and also partly because of the decision you have made to split the kids that are going there for high school, and he attends All Saints now. I'm here tonight with, I thought a couple of other, but it looks like only maybe one other parent, to talk about the current busing situation. Apparently, this is my first full year there. The number of buses that go to All Saints was cut from 4 to 2. The kids are now spending an extraordinarily long amount of time on the bus. The first day that my son came home from school, he was on the bus for 1 hour and 7 minutes. We live 10 minutes from All Saints Academy. Now, I haven't been able to get him back on the bus since that time, and my even bigger issue is that I was supposed to have a kindergartner on that bus. And I just do not think that it's appropriate to put a 5-year-old who's in their first full year of school on a school bus for 1 hour and 7 minutes for a trip to somewhere that's 10 minutes from their home. Several of the parents have expressed concern. We've tried to call down to the Director of Transportation, who won't take any of our calls. And so we're sort of bringing our argument here tonight so that hopefully we can get in touch with the proper people and have this situation addressed.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Meg Kelly. I'm also a parent at All Saints, and I'm here for the same reason, but I do want to add just a bit more information. My child has been going there for 6 years, and we live in South Scranton, and it's always been tops a half-hour bus ride. This year, it has turned into an hour and 10-minute bus ride each way. I did finally get a return phone call this afternoon from the Director of Transportation. And what she told me was that she felt very, very sorry for the situation. It was out of her hands. That it was their fault. And then she started mentioning the recovery plan, so I'm assuming she means the state. I don't know who they is. But she said it was their fault that the buses were taking so long. There was nothing she could do about it. And she was told that day, whatever the day is, said up to an hour and a half bus ride is acceptable for a child of elementary school age to go across town. So honestly, I think what we're looking for is just an answer as to why this is occurring, if there's anything we can do about it, because it was worked fine for 6 years, why it's so changed.
Thank you. Is that it, Ms. Moore?
That's it.
Sorry about that. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 10th, 2019?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yep.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
We have the consent agenda in front of us. Are we all okay with the consent agenda as it stands?
I'd like to remove item B1, please.
Could we also pull D1 and E2, please?
And also B2.
Hold on. B1,
B1, B2, D1, E2.
did you say B2?
B1 and 2. And then D1, E2.
D1? I just want to get them out. D1, Tom? D1?
D1.
So just for the record, I just want to go over E1, E2, D like David, and E2 are being removed.
Yes.
Okay, so for the record, we have B as in boy, 1, B and 2, D as in David, 1, E as in Edward, 2. Correct? Do I have, may I have a motion to approve the items on the remainder of the consent agenda?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Okay, so now we're in budget and finance, so Director Pope, before you take over, you're going to have B1 and B2 on yours?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Okay, to the members of the Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Scranton, it is a recommendation to the Budget and Finance Committee that the following resolution be considered. The list of bill payments in accordance with the bill payment approval policy be approved as per attached. I move that orders be drawn upon the Treasury as follows. September 3rd, 2019, the amount of $336,316.33 respectfully submitted.
Second.
On the question?
The reason I had this removed is I believe Coast Tire appears on the bill list. Although it's not the store that I work in, nor was I involved in the sale, I just want a clarification as to should I abstain from this because I work for that company?
I would abstain. I don't think you technically have to, but we also consider appearance. So I would
That's
abstain.
what I brought up.
Roll call?
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Abstain.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
8 affirmative, 1 abstention, motion passes.
Okay. To the members of the Board of Directors of the City of Scranton, the School District of the City of Scranton, is a recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee that the following resolution be considered. The summer bill payment as per the bill payment approval policy for the period ended September 3rd, 2019 be approved as per attached. Respectfully submitted.
Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
So on the question, I'm going to be abstaining from this as well, similar to Mr. Duffy, with my employment. I do not have anything to do with the money associated with this, but appearance.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Lesh?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Abstain.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
8 affirmative, 1 abstention, motion passes.
To the members of the Board of the School Directors of the City of Scranton, the Budget and Finance Committee presents the following resolution for your approval. Whereas it is recommended for approval, the Plan Concave project refinancing related to the following general obligation bonds to be forwarded to the Pennsylvania Department of Education for review and approval. General obligation bonds Series A of 2018, General Obligation Bond Series EE of 2017, General Obligation Bond Serial D of 2017, General Obligation Bond Series C of 2017, General Obligation Bond Series B of 2017, General Obligation Bond Series B of 2016, General Obligation Bond Series A of 2016, General Obligation Bond Series A of 2015. Therefore be resolved, the Scranton School Board hereby approves the submission of documents as presented, respectfully submitted.
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lesh?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
To the members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, it is the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee that the following is approved. Be it resolved that the Scranton School Board approves this motion authorizing the adoption by the Board of School Directors of the School District of the City of Scranton of a resolution authorizing the issuance of its general obligation bond for the purpose of funding a project consisting of 1, refunding a portion of the school district outstanding general obligation bonds Series C of 2011, and 2, paying the cost and expenses of issuance of the bond, all as more fully described in the attached complete text of the resolution. Respectfully submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
On the question, before we take a vote, is all the fees here are competitive, comparable to other deals?
Roll call?
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lesh?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
To the members of the Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Scranton, to the members of the Board of Directors of the Scranton School District, whereas tax appeals have been received from the Board of Assessment Appeals for the following properties. Owners: Citibank, property address 101 Wyoming Avenue, map 15607010019. Owner PNC Bank, address 1900 Main Avenue, map number 13412080021. Owner Garrett's 320 Meadow Avenue, that's the property address, and the map is 15717040041. The next one is Garrett's, again, property address of 700-702 Main Avenue, map number 15609040015. Owner Garrett's Warehouse, property address North-South Road, map number 1440806005502. And whereas the Board of Assessment Appeals has reached the proposed settlements of the properties, and whereas the Scranton School Board of Directors wishes to contest the proposed settlement accounts, and whereas to do so will require the district to retain an appraiser to evaluate each property. Therefore, be it resolved, the Scranton School Board of Directors authorizes district officials to retain an appraiser to contest above-mentioned tax assessment appeals. Respectfully submitted.
Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lesh?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
To the members of the Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Scranton, to the members of the Board Districts of the City of the Scranton School District, whereas tax appeals have been received from the Board of Assessment Appeals for the following properties. Owner, Kevin Karsnack, property address 18 Conroy Street, map number, oh, this is small, 157-190-01008, new real estate assessment of $9,968, $9,968, an effective date of January 1st, 2019. And again, Kevin Karsnack, 18 Conroy Avenue, map number 157-190-1008, new real estate assessment of $14,373, effective date of January 1st of 2018. Therefore, be it resolved that the Scranton School Board of Directors approves the new property assessment as negotiated between all parties involved. Respectfully submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question.
What is the current value of this property?
I believe the fair market value of the property was $94,000. That's the fair market value of the assessment. I believe it was $20,000.
I think it was around
That
20,000.
sounds right.
The assessment amount, that I conferred this with Attorney Barbetta, is based off of the $94,000 fair market value.
Roll call? And I just have one other question. I'm reading this correctly, that this is retroactive.
Right.
So 1/1/2018.
That's the rate in 2018 at $14,373, the 19 rate at $9,968.
So this individual is being reimbursed?
I don't know the status of the,
It's a negotiation.
I think I am done, thanks.
Roll call?
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
No.
Mr. Lesh?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
8 affirmative, 1 negative, motion passes.
To the members of the Board of Directors of the Scranton, of the School District of the City of Scranton, whereas the Scranton School District has discussed a possible conversion from mercantile/business tax to a payroll tax for the Scranton School District, and whereas through consultation with the Pennsylvania Department of Education Office of Chief Counsel, it has been determined that the Scranton School District has the authority per section 689 of the school code to convert from a mercantile/business privilege tax to a payroll tax, and whereas in addition to section 689 of the school code and provisions of the Local Tax Enabling Act, any changes to the tax levied by a school district must include consideration of the Taxpayer Relief Act, Act 1, and whereas Section 333, Act 1 states that a school board may not levy a tax for the support of the public schools which was not levied in the 2005-2006 fiscal year unless the board obtains the voter approval through public referendum and the election immediately preceding the start of the school district fiscal year in which the proposed tax would take effect. And whereas Section 689 restricts the tax rate that may be imposed at a rate not to exceed a rate sufficient to produce revenues equal to revenues collected in the levy of a mercantile/business privilege tax in the preceding fiscal year or revenue neutral. Therefore, be it resolved that the Scranton School Board of Directors approves district administration and solicitor to prepare a referendum to be submitted to the County Board of Elections by September 6, 2019, due date at a rate of 0.793%. Respectfully submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
So I want to say that all of the arguments against the payroll tax are good ones. Director Duffy, Director Lesh, our administration are making excellent points that we don't know enough. But I'm not voting tonight on whether or not I'm in favor of payroll tax, because I don't know whether or not I am, because I don't have the information. What I am voting on is getting more time. We have the option, if this passes, if this resolution passes, we have the option to make moves in the future. And if it doesn't pass, we don't have any options. So this isn't binding in any way, shape, or form to a conversion. It just gives us time. So I just wanted to get that out there so that people understand where I'm coming from when I vote.
I think it gives time for propaganda and the balls to move in a direction that I feel like the business community wants. I think tonight this is a vote against for businesses versus our kids, and I'm in favor of our kids.
I'm in favor of our kids too, BJ. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are, but this vote right here will be risky. It's been said by the state, it's been said by our solicitors, it's been said by our own people that work here. That's a potential risk that we're going to kick the ball down the road for the voters and other boards to make amends for it. It's just not something I'm willing to do, respectfully.
This vote tonight has nothing to do with the eventual outcome.
Sure does.
That's what you just clarified, Mr. Borthwick. That's what has transpired in this discussion this evening. If this fails, then we are done. If this passes, we have the opportunity to educate ourselves, to educate the community. And as Mr. Borthwick said, my mind's not made up either. I go back and forth on this all the time. There are lots of pros, lots of cons. The fear piece of it is overwhelming, and I don't want to take a risk on behalf of the district. And yet, I think we have a responsibility to be partners to this city and at least allow the conversation to play out. But one of the things I did want to clarify, Mr. Laffey, is the rate. The .793 is our portion of the rate.
That is our rate, the Scranton School District rate.
So the city
would have to determine what their own rate is.
And we're thinking that that is around 2.58?
I was going to say 2.85.
Okay.
2.285, 2.258, I don't have that.
One of those. But that brings us to around the 1% mark, give or take. And that's the total rate that would be levied.
By both parties involved,
Okay.
but our share would be the .793.
793. Thank you.
One thing before the vote, I just want to say one more thing. One of our administrators have advocated a yes vote for this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
No.
Ms. Gilmartin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
No.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
No.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
6 affirmative, 3 negative, the motion passes.
Education, D1, Director Norton.
The members of the board, excuse me, the members of the Board of School Directors in the City of Scranton recommended the recommendation of the acting assistant superintendent and the education committee that following is approved. Whereas it is desired to place student teachers observing enrollment in Drexel University in appropriate locations where our student teachers may gain practical teaching and experience, and whereas the governing board of the district is authorized to enter into an agreement with the university and college accredited by the State Board of Education as a teacher education institution to provide teaching experience to the student teaching and observation, and therefore be it resolved that the Scranton School Board hereby approves the memorandum of understanding agreement with Drexel University School of Education per the terms and conditions of the attachment at the rate be determined.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
I just don't remember this happening before. Is this a new agreement?
This is a new agreement, and Mr. Gentilesa can explain more, but yes, this is a new agreement.
This seems like a positive thing.
Yeah, we have agreements with local colleges, and from what I recall, I don't know if we have one in place with Drexel since I've been around. So they do have a youngster that wants to come, I believe, he lives in the area, wants to come and do teaching. So they just wanted to do an agreement, memorandum of understanding on their behalf, and they drafted one, an example of one, what they did, I believe it was in your packet.
Yes.
And they have different rates, and the rate that I believe that they're going to contribute is $150 for a student to come in and contribute to the Scranton School District, and we'll turn that over to Mr. Lappy.
Thank you.
I think, don't we share this with the SFT?
Yes.
Just so you know.
It's between, it's given, part of that money goes to scholarships at the end of your first students.
And is this support great? Is this?
I think
Thank you.
Roll call?
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Mr. Lush, we'll start with E2, which was pulled from the consent. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get that wrong? I circled E2.
E2. I thought it was pulled out.
No, E2.
E2 is correct. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay. We'll let you go.
E2, it's not even on.
It was in your,
It was under consent.
The members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, the Acting Assistant Superintendent of Schools, and the Operation Committee recommends the following resolution for your consideration. Whereas the School District of the City of Scranton recognizes the need to provide parking for all its employees at Northeast Intermediate School, and whereas in order to fulfill this need, the Board of Directors wishes to enter into a lease agreement with LAZ Parking at Regional Hospital of Scranton to rent 51 parking spaces at the rate of $20 per space per month for 9.5 months, commencing on September 4th, 2019, and ending in June 16, 2020, at the cost of $1,020 per month. And now therefore be it resolved that the Scranton School Board of Directors authorize the superintendent to sign the attached lease agreement with LAZ Parking to lease these 51 parking spaces after the solicitor has fully reviewed and approved such lease. Respectfully submitted.
do I have a second? Question?
This seems far more favorable than our agreement.
Yes.
And this, I am understanding it correctly, that this replaces the agreement with Cougars because the Bethel agreement was approved under consent agenda.
Correct. So this is in replace to, so we actually are up one. So we went from 75 to 76. I informed you during the work session of the price change with Cougars and the amount of spaces they, 20 spaces less what they were giving. Regional Hospital parking garage stepped up. They're giving us 51 spots. They will mark it off. Our teachers will have badges that they can swipe in and out. And so I think it's wonderful. And I want to thank them for stepping up.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate it.
And thank you to whomever.
That would be the operations department. That would be Mr. Kelly, who's running back
Way
and
to go,
forth.
operations department.
Thank you for spearheading that. That was great.
Yes.
This is great
So,
stuff.
It worked out well.
So it's a lot less claims that we're paying Cooper.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank you.
That's why I pulled it, so you can make that joke.
Thank you,
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. We're here all week.
So I would like to thank Director Gilmartin for pulling this so we could talk about it a little. And thank you, Operations Department, Mr. Doherty, Mr. Kelly. think it's great. It seems like we've saved about $48,000 a year on this. So, great job, guys.
As a former member of the Parking Authority, this is a great deal on parking spaces.
And I would also like to publicly thank Bethel, because they haven't supported, they haven't taken spots away from us, they haven't raised the space, the rent, I guess, per space. So I would like to thank them publicly also.
And with this, we asked for $25 a space, right? They gave
At
us
Regional?
25, they gave us 20.
They gave us 20, I don't think we offered anything. I believe, Mr. Kelly, I don't want to speak for you, but I believe you went up and asked for $20.
Yeah, I asked for, I said, made the deal. I was told to go to 25 max and.
Okay.
So,
Settled at
we started it all.
Yeah.
Great job. Roll call?
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, Superintendent and the Buildings and Grounds Committee presents the following resolution for your consideration. Be it resolved that the Scranton School Board hereby approve the Apollo Group of Architects and Engineers to provide a proposal for Northeast Intermediate School for the following. Number one, evaluate the conditions of the porticos over the East Gibson Street entrances. Number two, provide a report outlining visual evaluations and recommendations. Number three, provide details for future architectural drawings and/or bid documents. The proposal calls for a total cost not to exceed $4,000. A separate proposal for design and construction bid can be offered once structural recommendations are provided. I so move.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, we were thinking about making this the main entrance. Is that something I recall being said?
Yes. Yeah, there was a project that you had approved months ago to move the main entrance to the school to East Gibson Street, and in the course of that project, they found some significant structural deficits above the portico.
Yeah, looking at that, there's no question we have to take some action on this. Do we need to use this as the main entrance?
No, we're back to using the other one as the main entrance.
Okay, thank you, that answered my question.
Roll call?
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
E5, members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton. The Buildings and Grounds Committee presents the following resolution for your consideration. Be it resolved that the abatement of asbestos Northeast Intermediate School be given to Rural Environment at the cost of $4,450. Respectfully submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople? Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Director of what?
So, members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, it's the recommendation of the Superintendent and Personnel Committee that the attached list of appointments, assignments, resignations, and leaves of absences is approved. Appointments are effective upon receipt of proper criminal records, immigration, medical, and child abuse reports. Salaries are in accordance with the collective bargaining agreements. Respectfully submitted.
On the question?
Do we want to clarify the position that's been added?
We talked about it earlier, but yeah, we could just add, speak to that.
Yes, on the personnel report, what has been added is acting principal at ECA, and that's for Ms. Terry Whalen.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Do I, on the question? Oh, did I say that already? I said, I'm sorry. Roll call?
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, it is the recommendation of the superintendent and the policy committee that the following resolution be approved. Whereas the following policies 004, 201, 204, 208, and 209, first read have been revised by the Pennsylvania School Board Association, PSBA, and policy number 004, membership, policy 201, admission of students, policy 204, attendance, policy 208, withdrawal from school, policy 209, health examination screening. Whereas the following board operating guidelines, BOG 004, BOG 0, and 004, BOG 4, first read, have been revised by the Pennsylvania School Board Association's PSBA, and Board Operating Guideline number 004 BOG 0, Statement of Financial Interest, 004 BOG 4, Board of School Directors Vacancy Application Form. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scranton School Board hereby approves as a first read revision of policy numbers 004, 201, 204, 208, 209, and Board Operating Guidelines 004 BOG 0 and 004 BOG 4, recommended by the Pennsylvania School Board Association, PSBA. Respectfully submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
I would just like to point out that Mr. Gentileza and I did work on that 004 BOG 4 as we discussed in the work session, and melted the recommendations from PSBA, and
That one, we do have a current board applicant, and we did just revise it recently, 004 BOG 2, and PSBA's was 004 BOG 4, and we tweaked our current one a little bit with some of the things that we talked about, and we put in our current one. If we like that current one, we will just take out the revision from PSBA and just go with the tweaks that we did in addition to the one that's in current place.
And then at some point, do we need to clarify the number? Or we need, there was a confusion between 2 or 4?
There was a confusion between the numbers because we currently had it as BOG 004 BOG 4, or BOG 2, and they have BOG 4. So, I mean, I can take a look at that and make sure we don't already have something in place for that. So if you agree with the one I did revise, we'll pull that one out and use our current.
Thank you.
And we pulled out 808, the food
Yes,
service
right.
one from.
That came off here from the work session.
Roll call?
Mr. Pople?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Borthwick?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Ms. Goodmartin?
Yes.
Mr. Lush?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Do we have anything under new business?
I have just 2 quick things. I just wanted to reiterate the issues with the busing. I received a call today as well, a call my children being on the bus for well over an hour. I think that's something that I think we need more information on maybe, or something that we can find some kind of solution. I know that we're trying to thread a needle here, and I feel for the frustrations of the parents on this one. But we're trying to save some money on busing, but not have our kids sitting 2 extra hours a day or more on the bus to go a few miles. So I think that we have to have a lot more discussion on that, hopefully, and get some answers. And secondly, I just wanted to bring up, and obviously the new interim representative from our maintenance is doing a good job. You've done something tonight that probably paid for most of the salary for the entire year. But a few people from that union have reached out to me and asked about the process that we went through in appointing him with the correct process. And I just wanted to make sure that in all of the happenings of the meeting last month, it was something that I overlooked, that a couple of union members from that union made it very clear here that they weren't happy with. But I was kind of going with the opinion of Dr. Fine and the recommendations that were made there. But I want to make sure that we didn't do anything to hurt anyone's bidding rights or union rights or the way that filtered through. And I just want to bring that up, or maybe bring it up as a talking point for our next work session. So it's nothing that we have to talk about right now, but I just want something to be brought up so we can talk about. Thank you.
I would just like to interject before I have a motion to adjourn, to extend my thank you to everyone as well. I think I speak for all of us on the board. Working together, we're certainly making progress, and I'm looking forward to continue working in this fashion. Do I have a motion to adjourn?